Good evening, dear friends. Welcome to the fifth and final session of our celebration of Laudato Si Week. For the past 4 days, we have been journeying with the creation of God and reflecting together on how we can become an eco-friendly parish, bringing the teachings of Laudato Si more practically into our lives. Today, during this session, we shall reflect together on some concrete action plans in our personal as well as community life. As usual, to begin this session, I invite you to find a comfortable place and prepare yourself for this session. We shall begin in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Let us feel the presence of God in our midst. In order to help you concentrate, I invite you now to become aware of your breathing. We always breathe, but seldom do we become aware of our breathing. Seldom do we thank God for the life-giving breath which He so freely bestows on us. Now, with a deep sense of gratitude to God for the fresh air, breathe in and breathe out slowly, being fully aware of your breathing. Now, let us become aware of the noises around. Listen to the chirpings of the birds. Listen to the sound of the wind. In the midst of this, listen also to the noise of the vehicles. Gather all your thoughts and awareness to your present situation and enter into the silence of your heart. During this special month of May, dedicated to Mary, our Mother, we have journeyed together with Laudato Si, reflecting on the poems of Gerard Manley Hopkins. Today, we are going to look at the beautiful poem Spring. This poem was written in May 1877. Hopkins was living in North Wales, where he was studying theology at St Bino's College in preparation for ordination to the priesthood. Hopkins loved living in North Wales, and the beauty of the country filled him with energy, excitement, and cheerfulness. In this time, at St Bino's, he produced some very enthusiastic nature poetry. Spring, by Gerard Manley Hopkins, describes the joys of spring against a backdrop of religious references to the Garden of Eden and sin. The first 8 lines describe and celebrate the wonders and beauties of spring, birds and trees and plants and animals. He finds the season to be cleansing and rejuvenating. The concluding 6 lines relates these wonders to God. The things which Hopkins describes that speak of spring's beauty are loaded with significance. Those thrush's eggs look like little low heavens, not least because they, like the sky, are blue, a colour that will be mentioned again in the 7th line. The predominant colour in the poem is blue, and this blue tinge introduces a beautiful link with the Virgin Mary, with whom the colour blue is strongly associated. Mary will be mentioned later in the poem, when Hopkins refers to Christ as maid's child. The echoing timbre through which the thrush can be heard singing suggests the vibration of the warbling thrush's song, as well as the wooded timber from which it echoes. For Hopkins, spring is throbbing with sounds and sights and smells. As you listen to it, allow yourself to sense his energy, excitement and cheerfulness, and relive moments in your own life when you have felt that same nature-inspired exuberance and joy in life. Enjoy the poem.
Nothing is so beautiful as spring, when weeds and wheels shoot long and lovely and lush. Thrush's eggs look like little low heavens, and thrush through the echoing timbers does so rinse and ring the ears. It strikes like lightning to hear him sing. The glossy pear tree leaves and blooms, they brush the descending blue. That blue is all in a rush with richness. The racing lambs too have fair their fling. What is all this juice and all this joy? A strain of the earth's sweet being in the beginning, in Eden garden? Have, get, before it cloy, before it cloud, Christ Lord and sour with sinning. Innocent mind and Mayday in girl and boy. Most, O maid's child, thy choice, and worthy the winning.
You will now have a few minutes to ponder over the poem. The words of the poem will appear on the screen. Please pause the video and feel free to share your thoughts on the poem with those who are at home with you, or if you are alone, write down your thoughts. We shall now enter into the next part of our session today, thinking together on how well we can celebrate the fullness of life. As we have been contemplating the importance of the care of our common home, we become aware of our call to stewardship. Each one of us wants to live our lives to the full. We can all celebrate the fullness of life only if we are living our lives in communion with one another and with the beautiful creation of God. We need to become constantly aware of our interconnectedness. Pope Francis, in his encyclical Laudato Si', very clearly says, "The human person grows more, matures more, and is sanctified more to the extent that he or she enters into relationships, going out from themselves to live in communion with God, with others, and with all creatures. In this way, they make their own that Trinitarian dynamism which God imprinted in them when they were created. Everything is interconnected, and this invites us to develop a spirituality of that global solidarity which flows from the mystery of the Trinity. We can celebrate the fullness of our life only if we live our lives being aware of our interconnectedness. We shall now watch a video on the fullness of life. As you watch it, I invite you to become aware of what fullness of life means to you. Let us now spend a few moments in silence to reflect and to share our thoughts with others, or to write them down. Just like CAFOD, there are many organisations helping people all over the world celebrate the fullness of life. Let us not forget that every drop in the ocean makes a huge difference. In our journey with creation, we are called to act together to become responsible stewards of God's creation. We all need to reflect together on stewardship in Southall. In our journey to become better stewards of God's creation, it is important that we work in collaboration with other organisations that strive hard to protect our common home. Some of you may have known Arusha, which is very active in our neighbourhood. Arusha is an international network of environmental organisations with a Christian ethos. Arusha, which means the rock in Portuguese, is a Christian charity working for the protection and restoration of the natural world and committed to mobilising Christians and churches in the UK to care for the environment. Let us now listen to and watch an interview with Kylian.
It's a very comfortable.
Yes, lovely. So, good afternoon, everybody. And here we find ourselves in this very beautiful spot in Norwood Green, which possibly is not known to many of you at all, but is very worth a visit. And it's called Wool Fields. And we've come here today to meet Kylian. Kylian, who spends a lot of his time in Wool Fields and who spends a lot of his time in Southall working with Arusha. So, Kylian, it's very nice to welcome you this afternoon. I mean, I'm welcoming you to your own place, but it's lovely to be here with you for a little while, and thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure.
So, Kylian, perhaps if I could begin by inviting you kindly to say a few words about yourself,
Right.
a little of your story, and how long you've been associated with Southall.
Right. I am originally from Northeast India. I'm based here almost 11 years now, roughly. Going to be 12 years now. I've been associated with Arusha UK. It's almost 11 years again, and have lived here in Southall. Yeah, probably 11 years. So, yeah, since I joined Arusha UK, I'm based here down here. One of the reasons why I joined Arusha UK is that I know that many of you might not heard about Arusha UK. Arusha is a Christian environmental charity working for the protection and restorations of natural world. And Arusha believe that this is God's world, lovingly created and entrust to our care. And that really ignites my patience or drag my patience towards that. And that's why I was approaching Arusha, and they welcomed me, so I become a part of the Arusha community. Globally, we have 21 Arusha around the world, and I'm based in Arusha, UK.
Yes, and Kylian, I wonder if you'd perhaps share with us something of your deeper commitment in Arusha, you know, how you've come here and how you see it as living out your discipleship as a Christian and as a follower of Jesus. How does that all fit together?
Right. So let me begin with my personal journey since I was very young. I used to help out my dad in his pineapple and mango farm in Northeast India. And I sort of have some connections with the nature already, and I have a love for the environment since then. But later on, I become a bit more mature and able to connect that bit with my Christian faith, and that really ignite and my patience and drive me out of my comfort zones to do something for the nature world. And I'm very pleased that when I was looking for an organizations, I could fit very well with the Erosha UK because it's the organizations where I could express my Christian faith into action. You see this piece of land. When we first saw, it was a derelict land, sort of really abused. We see lots of drug dealing down there and pile of rubbish. And we spent more than 54 tons of, we collected more than 54 tons of rubbish here. And I kind of feel that there's something positive that we can do in every locations like that. And that's how I want to, make a difference. And it's what really drives me is not my love for nature environment, but my patience, my commitment with Jesus, with God, and that really drive me forward to do something. Yeah.
So you were brought up in North India with your family.
Northeast India.
Northeast, I beg your pardon, Northeast India.
Yeah.
And you came from a Christian family.
Yes, of course, I came from a Christian family, but I find it really hard to connect my Christian faith with the nature world. I did my degree in ecology, then I did another master degree in environmental waste management. And
where did you do that?
I did in Glasgow.
Oh, in Glasgow?
Yeah.
You're a very fortunate person, weren't you?
Yeah, I did in Glasgow. Then I went to a church near the Glasgow Uni, a Wellington church.
I know Wellington Church, yes.
They are very much involved in the eco project, and I started helping them. And since then, I began to learn more and more while I helped them. And begin to broaden my gospel. And that's how I love doing more and more about the nature environment and do something for it and help the organizations wherever I could.
So how long did you stay with Wellington Church?
4 years.
4 years.
Yes.
So, and things were developing and bubbling at that
bubbling
point.
up. Yes, of course. Indeed.
And then after that, what happened?
After that, I was looking around where I could possibly, earn something and then do my patience. And that's how I come across Erosha UK. And fortunately, they were having a vacancy. And I think that's all God's plan. I was praying for that, and God never fails. And I think God wants me to do that. And this is where I could express where I could marry my degree with my Christian faith. So I am very passionate about it. In fact, I'm very pleased that one of the things that really give me joy in my heart is that I believe that God is calling us to take care of His world, and God is asking us to partner with Him. I think it's a real privilege. I feel really honored to take that, responsibility.
So wonderful. And so you, when you got the position with Arocha, is that when you came to Southall?
Yes, but also no, because after accepting Erosha UK, I still stayed in Glasgow for almost a year.
Yes.
Still then, I was working sort of remotely, but later on moved down here when we really want to start the groundwork and do some project. So I came down after almost a year.
Mm. And how long has the project itself been in Southall? How long has Arocha been in Southall?
I think Erosha is around about 13 years. In the first project is Minute Country Park. I have already shown to you and with the youth groups last 2 years ago. We were down there. It's almost 100 acres. It's a pure. There's a separation between the leisure area and the strict conservation area, which is it's a very nice area. We still use it for doing some sort of research, bird ringings, and also sometimes we organize events and school events specials.
So it's really a big work of environmental preservation and
Yes.
development.
Yes,
No,
indeed.
that's wonderful. So you are based in Southall, and how many of you are in the community here in Southall?
Well, we have a center in Avenue Road. I live with my family, and my wife looks after the center. We have 2 interns, and my wife look after all those interns about their accommodations, about their foods, and etc., etc., which I don't need to worry much about, which is good. Literally, when we came down, we are Church Mission Society mission partners. So we both work together, my wife and I, and we literally look after the center. It's been 11 years now. And we feel privileged to have that opportunity to do.
And you have connections with lots of communities, right?
Yeah, lots of communities, and even our salary, part of it is coming from different bits and bobs from the churches donations. Yeah.
And this beautiful place here, when did you start?
My wife and I, we first saw on 2014. We walk around here. Interesting. We worship in St. John's Southhold, and there was one lady who supported CMS, and she invited us. When she knew that we are CMS partners, she invited us for a lunch, and we walk around here, and then we saw 6-7 people taking drugs there, and lots of rubbish out here, but we can see the potential, and something attracts us very much. And my wife say, "Can we not take up as a project? We don't have much money." So I said to her, "Don't think about it." But something, we can't sleep anymore. The next day we came down and prayed. I still remember 2014. We came down and prayed just in front of that gate. "Lord, if it's your will, we want to transform this area for your glory, so that people can learn about your creations, can enjoy your creations, can see your finger, and can praise you." We never know. So we keep on praying, and finally something opens in our mind, is that we need to approach the local community, local church, and the council who own the land. We did that, and luckily, I think God opened the doors in every people's hearts, and the council were also very pleased. They give us 6 years lease, and now we are able to extend another 6 years lease, and we were able to clear all the rubbish, 64 tons of rubbish, with the help of the local ward forums as well as the church supports. It's amazing.
Yes.
It's amazing how God's work.
Yes.
At that moment, when we were having that visions, we were having literally 20 quid in our pockets. That's all we had. But how God can multiply that? It's amazing.
No, that's absolutely wonderful. And the place has been transformed. So it really was, it was a dump, really, wasn't it?
Yes. Indeed. Yes,
and so
indeed.
it's an immense amount of work has gone into it. Would you like to say a little about the work that you've done with the young people in Southall and the young people in St. Anselm's Church?
Absolutely. I think St. Anselm, especially St. Anselm Youth, has been one of the pillars for this project, I would say. Because they bring enthusiasm, fun, and all the energy here. Since we started launching this project, I still remember more than 40, 50, 60 youth came down to plant trees and all, and they are part of bringing ideas about the art area. We are about to install an art area, possibly after these lockdowns, and all the idea comes from the St. Anselm youth. They have been playing a huge role, and that's how we want to reconnect people with nature. It's not just for our environment, but for our future as well. It's really important to infuse that love for nature through connecting with reconnecting people with the nature. And the best thing is to start with the kids and the youth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. No, thank you very much indeed. We are celebrating Laudato Si Week. Anything that you'd like to say about that?
I think in this time of crisis, when the world is questioning what is God saying here, I think Laudato Si could play a real important role. It tells us that we are a part of nature. We're interconnected, whether we like it or not. it all reflected, and also it tells us that what it means to be a follower of Christ or God, the creator of heaven and earth, and what it means to be a good steward for his creations. I think that's all reflected in Laudato Si. I think it can really knocks people's mind and reawaken. I pray for that. I pray that it will be a useful, not just a document, some sort of divine the message that can reawake people's perceptions about our reconnections with the nature as it is created by God, and which was lovingly created and in trustworthy care, beautifully created by God. I think that's all reflected in Laudato Si. I'm very pleased about it. We have to pray that that works out, how people can express that into practical actions. That's very important, so we have to pray about it, I guess so.
Yeah, which sort of brings us on to the whole notion of being eco-friendly communities.
Yes.
What do you understand by that sort of phrase, eco-friendly community?
I think we need to be mindful of how we live on this planet. Each and every step we have a carbon footprint, and we have to re-examine ourselves, our lifestyle, how we can reduce the impact, our carbon emissions. Say, for example, if we looked at the UK carbon footprint chart, individuals, household, the churches, and all the institutes, the carbon emissions is clearly reflected in that kind of data. And I would really seriously like to encourage people to look at that and really re-examine how their lifestyles impacts the world. And it's a serious time to think. And in that way, we can, it will be difficult. I mean, it will be difficult to make a massive or big step in one go. But I definitely think that we can do some small, easy step to start with, which everybody can do. Say, for example, if I go to church in a car, maybe the next day I have to go by walk or by bicycle. Just a small difference. If I on my heating for 3 hours, during the summertime I can just on for 15-30 minutes. Something that we can do, I think, can multiply and can encourage other people as well, and we can demonstrate to the world that some things we can start from something small and can have influence and positive impacts in our community. And that's I really want to highlight, because when we seriously think about the big things, it really demoralizes us to some extent. It's hard to see our future. We live in uncertainty, and it's up to us now whether we allow the uncertainty to drive our future or whether we take the seat to do ourselves something positive.
Yes. Well, thank you very much indeed, Kylie, and that was really great. Thank you. Thank you.
The young people in our parish over the last few years have had an enriching experience of working together with A Rocha. We shall now listen to Zelia, one of our active young people in the parish.
So, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome once again. And this afternoon, I'd particularly like to welcome Zelia. Thank you for coming to join us this afternoon. Zelia, you're very welcome. Zelia, perhaps if I could invite you, just to begin with, to say a few words about yourself, a little of your story, and how long you've been associated with Southall and St. Anselm's.
Thank you, Father Gerard, for inviting me. I appreciate that. This is Zelia Eliza Camillo. I was born in Goa, but I grew up in Muscat. But eventually I had to get back to Goa because my school fees were increasing in Muscat every month. And I came back to Goa, and then my mom had prepared to come to London after a few months. And then she gradually brought us to London. And I'm currently studying in Villiers High School. I'm in year 12. And I've known St. Anselm's for 5 years now. And it is a very good church community. I love them all. And yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. And how have you been involved, would you say, in the life of the parish?
Actually, it all started with summer camp, where I came across it, and I've never been to one before. And I wanted to see what a summer camp actually looks like, and what sort of things do they do every day. And I went for it. We had a lot of activities uh, carried out, like canoeing. We had artists coming, and we helped them in doing some paintings for the church, and a lot of different people coming, and just activities, new lessons every day. And then I joined the youth ministry, where I got to know the people on a better level, and I could communicate with them very well, and they were all lovely, and the volunteers were very helpful. We had many different activities done every day, and then I got the chance to act in short plays which would be held in the church. And yeah, that's how I came to know a lot of people, and I made new friends, which is a good thing.
Thank you. Yes, yes. Well, perhaps you'd like to share with us your thoughts about Laudato Si.
Laudato si mi Señor, praise be to you, my Lord. In the words of this beautiful canticle, Saint Francis of Assisi really reminds us of our common home, that our common home is like our sister, whom we share our life with, and a beautiful mother who opens her arms to embrace us. Praise be to you, my Lord, through our sister, Mother Earth, who governs and sustains us and produces various fruits, colored flowers, and herbs. Pope Francis here is really trying to call the world right now, and he wants us to accept the importance of the environmental challenges we are facing, and he wants us all to stand up for the stewardship of the earth. Yeah.
Thank you. That's great. And why would you say that you find it so inspiring?
I really find it inspiring because it really gives me and the people a lot of hope that one day we too can keep our Mother Earth sustained, and also it also gives us a hope that we too have the potential to keep our Mother Earth sustained by working as one.
And how do you try to live your life responding to the cry of the earth and the cry of the poor?
I respond to the cry of the earth by doing simple things such as walking more. Like if that's usually done when I go to school, I normally walk, and also I try to use less public transport until and unless it's really necessary for me, or if a place is far away from me. And I also make sure that the materials which needs to be recycled are not mixed up with the materials which needs to be put into waste. And I respond to the cry of the poor by, that one is a bit tricky, Father, but at the moment all I can do is pray for them. I also make sure I pray for the people who help the poor in need, and also I do donate some money when I see people convincing other people on social media. I do go to donate some money, and of course I ask mom for help, and she never tells me no as well. She always tells me yes, you go ahead. And in the future I would like to donate some money when I start earning myself, and I would feel more better, and I would make sure I go to charities and help out, volunteer them, so that I really respond to the cry of the poor.
Thank you very much indeed. And can you share with us your experience of working with others for the care of the environment?
So in youth camp, after each session would end, the volunteers made sure that some of us were left behind to clean up, like the place we used, and also so in case it was used for another, it was used for another occasion, and it would be easier for the church so that they could use that so that they could use that cleaning time for other things. And also we made sure the entrance of the church while we left was also clear. And yes, cleaning was important. And also when we used to visit Woolfields during youth ministry sometimes, we really helped them clearing the paths there, and we helped them pick some litter, and help them plant some veggies. It was a very different challenge for us, especially when picking up litter during the cold time. And I actually realized that they do a lot of hard work just to keep our Mother Earth sustained by doing small things. And it has now been really changed from a wasteland to a wonderland, and it's looking amazing now. And also, we visited the Jesuit missions where we had an MP coming in and talking about climate change, about how people were concerned, and they were just responding about what they could do to reduce the impacts having on climate change. And we had many people coming from different backgrounds and talking about their concerns, raising their concerns about climate change. And it was so good to see people engaging about that topic. And then the second time we went to a march. We joined the Jesuit missions, and we had a lot of different people, like children, adults. We had a range of group from of different year groups. And it was really shocking to see there were so many people coming in, and walking from Hyde Park to Westminster, which was a long walk, and raising their concerns about climate change. And it's also good to see that people are worried about our climate change, and they're concerned about the future. And yeah.
Thank you very much indeed. And can you explain what you understand by the phrase eco-friendly parish, and why you think it'd be good for St. Anselm's to become such a parish?
Eco-friendly parish means looking after God's creation. Eco-friendly parish is an example to show the good news for God's earth. And I would like St. Anselm to become such a good parish because it has a potential to become a good eco-friendly parish. And by taking in small steps, we could make a huge difference and reduce the environmental impacts. And also, by representing St. Anselm's as an eco-friendly parish, we are setting out an example to the community, so that they too could do the same as what we are doing and what steps we are taking. And by that, I don't mean we should take some huge steps. For example, if you have a garden, you could just plant a small tree or anything, or any flowers, just by taking small steps, making sure you're using less energy, like you're wasting less energy, and especially making sure your appliances are off when not in use. Just by taking small steps, especially when you're going out nearby, don't travel too much, walk more. And yeah.
Thank you very much indeed. And what are some of the things that you'd like to see happening in St. Anselm's to make it a more eco-friendly parish?
There are a lot of ways to make St. Anselm's an eco-friendly parish. Firstly, I'm happy overall that St. Anselm has already started doing their job of making sure all the cardboard, papers are put into their recycling bins, and they also have some people taking it to Greenford, where all the recycling materials go in, and they're already doing their job. And also, they've started using green energy supply, which saves more energy. And we could do like a small debate sessions for young children, and also we could call in some young small children or volunteers to just plant some beautiful flowers, vegetables in the garden, or any place if they want to, and where it's available. And we could make sure that the bulletins which are handed out during after mass, um, obviously not all people take them, so we could put a box where people could just put in there if they're not taking it, or if they're not going to use it, and less could be printed out to save more paper. Less could be printed out, and they could share with each other about the and anything about the news. Yeah, and they could share on social media as well, instead of everyone taking it. And it's already announced during mass. So yeah.
Yes. And is there anything else you would like to share with us?
So I had a small message for you guys. I know a lot of people don't like engaging in these topics like these, and I know it sounds very boring, but I think we should have some knowledge about it, and it's actually good for us if we know about this, because it would prevent us from having severe consequences in the future. And the next generation is our generation, and we need to make sure we live a good life and there are no severe consequences. We don't want global warming to occur or anything like disasters. So we need to make sure that our next generation is clean, healthy, and we are living a good life. And you could start by taking small steps. No one is telling you to go for big steps. And by small steps, I mean just making sure if you have a garden, make sure you plant some small plants, anything, flowers, herbs, vegetables, anything. And also you could research about climate change, any news happening around the world, post it, forward it on social media, and don't be scared. And yeah, stay safe. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That's great. Thank you very much indeed.
Azalea said, Wolffields is an example of how we can make a huge difference in our world by our common collective efforts. And, as she said, a wasteland was turned into a wonderland. We shall now have a few clips from Wolffields.
Hello, welcome to Wolffield Nature Reserve. We come to Arosa, UK's Wolffield Nature Reserve. Welcome. This is roughly 3 acres site, which was really abandoned, very abused. We transformed into a multi purpose green space for wildlife as well as for the community. And we have allotment here. And we also have a sensory garden. We also have this orchard. Many people have been involved, especially the St. Anselm Church. The youth has been very much involved in these plantings. Last year they had planted strawberry and tomatoes. This year it's a little bit wild because of the lockdown, so we don't have much volunteers. But what I want to say is that the youth, the St. Anselm youth, has played a very important role. And this is a compost. This is a cut grass which we pile up. Later on we'll be using this for mulching. We have broad beans here, and also we have a strawberry here. The potatoes is struggling with the sun heat. Right, okay, this is a shipping container. It was looking very dull. The youth with some family came down to do some paintings, and you know, this is looking much more lively and much more colorful and very nice now. Otherwise it was really dull looking shipping container. Hello, this is an art area, and we have a scrap metal owl which will be installed here. You can see the bulbs coming out. This we will be installing a metal the owl sculpture here, and then you can see this tree is willow tree, grey willow tree. This will be used as a prayer tree where people can hang their prayer beads. And this is olive tree. There's a cross here which I designed, and people can come here and sit here and pray. You know, this will be an art area. It's not finished. It's not finalized due to lockdown. No one is there to come and help us do so. The project is suspended for a while, but it will continue. And this area we will, that's solid. And this area we will create like a mount, and there will be a pond over here. Over here, right in the middle, there will be a Noah Ark. We'll create a sort of like a boat, like a Noah Ark. So this is a creative space. The whole idea is taken from the schools, kids, and the youth, and St. Anselm youth were also involved in bringing all this idea together. Our sensory garden designed by the school kids. More than 1,000 kids were participating in designing this area. As you can see here, the design from aerial view, it's like a flower. So it has 5 sections: touch, see, hear, taste, and smell petal from aerial view. And this is the dome bit. So all the things that were planted in the right hand side are some things that you can touch and smell. And the other side is see and hear petals. And the test petal is right across it on the other side. And we very much work in partnership with Ealing Association for the Blind and some care institutions. Some people also came here to use the site, and we also work along with St. Anselm Youth. They came here for nature walk and all, which is wonderful, and often help us in site maintenance. And this is a lemon balm, and the chive is there, so something that people can smell. Here it's lamb's ear and junipers, something people can touch. And this area is a sea area, something people can see. You can see the flowers coming up. Now, during summer, like June, July, the flower will be blooming up around here. the different sorts of flowers are planted here. And this is a here area. This is tall grasses, and some of the tall grasses bear a kind of seed. And when that seeds get dry, it produces some kind of sound. So when the blind people move around and touch it, it produces a sound. So it's a here area. And this is a test area, something that we plant here. All the plants are something that eatable. This is called solbusses. The leaves can be eaten like that. Solbusses. That's a raspberry, gooseberry, and a wild strawberry. All the things that eatable stuff are planted here. So it's a test area, something that they can test. People can taste. Okay. This is our fire pit area. Also, we call it a storytelling area. We used to have a bonfire here, and the kids will sit around here, and we have a storyteller who will tell story there, and the kids love it. It's very popular, and for the churches too. The churches come down to do praying here, to do some sort of reflections, and they just love it with the fires, the pit around here, and then it's a wonderful place for the family, where they can do some sort of barbecue, cooking, etc. Now this is a pond we created. It's not natural. It's a artificial pond. This was an area where all the asbestos were dumped. We clear it. We transform this area for a wildlife pond. Now you can see dragonflies and damson flies are attracted. And you can see sometimes, it attracted some ducks as well. It's doing really well. The pond is harboring lots of wildlife, which is great for us. This is our wildflower area. We have installed this wildflower 2 years ago. It's now coming up. Hopefully, as we progress into summer, June, July, more will come up. And this is really attracting butterflies and bees. And we also beehive just opposite to us, and that will benefit, the bee will benefit from this wildflower. That's our thinking too. Thank you. This is our bee set. This is our bee set. You can see all these pictures drawn by kids, their name as well. And this is our beehive area. You can see this gazebo, and when we try to demonstrate to the kids about the bee, we put the netting all over it for safety reason. And that's our beehive, very active now. You can see the very active. This is a new beehive. We have birds came everywhere, but this is one of those. This one is a special one. We had connected with the solar panel up there near the beehive. This bird cam is connected with these schools opposite to us, Woolfields Primary School. We have taken out the solar panel. Otherwise, this camera could work. When it works, the kids are able to enjoy what is inside the bird hide. The bird's box. I mean, this is our orchard area. We have different varieties of apple, pears, and plums, etc. The St. Anselm youth were very much involved when we planted here. In fact, they were involved in planting not only this area but the other area as well. So they have been hugely contributing to this project. The Mayor of Ealing as well came as well, and the local MP comes along during our planting. That's great.
As we come to the end of the session, I invite you to think together on how we can practically respond to the call to stewardship in our parish in Southall. Our collective ideas are more important, and if you have any suggestions on how we can act together, we invite you to write to us with your suggestions and valuable thoughts. You are most welcome to post your thoughts to us through the mail, or send it across on WhatsApp, or email, or any other app that you might use for messaging. Together, we shall strive hard to become sincere stewards of God's creation, and we shall now end this prayer with the prayer for Laudato Si Week.